Salut les amis, hello from Paris. This video today is for you if you are thinking about or going to be traveling in France and you'd like to know a little bit more about the culture, the etiquette. Maybe you don't speak as much French as you'd like to and you'd like some tips and tricks for things that can help you in your travels. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. First thing I want to talk about is the metro. In New York, we call it the subway, and I come from New York. But here in Paris, there are certain things that we just don't do. For example, in general, you will not see people eating or drinking on the subway. Occasionally, someone might have a bottle of water. It's pretty rare. I'm not going to say never, never, but in New York, you've got people doing their nails, their makeup, eating a full sushi dinner. I mean, anything can happen on the subway in New York. Here, it's more considered a means of transportation. And so it's not really common to see people eating or drinking. And another thing on the metro is that people tend to keep their voices down for the most part. Again, not saying it doesn't happen that someone is loud, but typically speaking, people are not talking loudly on their cell phones. They are not really talking loudly to each other. In general, it's just like a somewhat quieter atmosphere, even though it can still be packed like sardines and all of that. And one other tip for the metro is that when the car is very full and you're standing inside the car and the doors are about to open and people have to get off, it's customary to, if you're right by the door, to step off the train, let people off, and then get back on. So I hope those help you when you're in the metro. My next tip is around when you are getting ready to pay for something and you're waiting in line, or when you're waiting in line for anything where you have to interact with a French person for that transaction. And it's really interesting. My last video that I made about things to know if you're traveling in France, I talked about using the word bonjour, and it's absolutely imperative for you to say bonjour when you start a transaction, any kind of interaction in France, whether it's in a restaurant, it's in a store, it's speaking to someone, buying a ticket for something. You have to say bonjour. But another thing that's kind of interesting to note is that when you're waiting in line, in France, we don't normally make a lot of eye contact or say bonjour before it's our turn. And that's because once you say bonjour, it's difficult to say bonjour again in French. Like, whereas in the States, I might say, hey, hey, like when I first catch your eye, and then even if you're the cashier, if I'm standing back in line, hey, and then I might say to you again, hi, hey, whatever, But in France, you wait your turn. You let the person who's in front of you complete their transaction fully. And then when it's your turn, you have that moment of formality where the cashier or the person who's helping you says to you, bonjour, or bonjour madame, bonjour monsieur, and you say bonjour. So that's just a little insight that I have noticed. Now my next tip is just something to know. It's not really about etiquette because everyone should dress as they want and be comfortable as they like, but just to know when you're traveling in France that the sort of American way, how we wear athletic wear everywhere, we'll be out in our Lululemons and a cute little vest and a little baseball cap. It's just not the norm here. I'm not saying you never see it, but in general, people don't wear sweatpants or pajama pants or stuff like that out and about when they're shopping or sightseeing or just going to a restaurant or things like that. So just to be mindful that if you do choose to dress that way, they will immediately know that you are American. You don't have to be super dressed up. It's just a little bit more than the athletic wear. So just wanted to throw that one out there for you. Now, these next couple of tips are just helpful for you if you are out and about and eating and drinking. And so the first one is really, really important because if you're in a cafe or sometimes in a nicer restaurant and you want to get some water, in France, they're not necessarily going to bring you a glass of water or a bottle of water. Sometimes in a cafe, they'll bring you a little glass of water with your drink or your coffee that you order, but it's not the usual practice. So if you want water, do not ask for some water or un peu d'eau, a little bit of water, because if you ask for that, the chances are you're going to get a bottle of water that will already have been opened and you will be charged for it. And in Paris, it can be very expensive. Instead, if what you want is just like a good old carafe of some tap water, which is great in Paris and you are encouraged and more than welcome to drink it, you should ask for une carafe d'eau, which means a carafe of water. Une, a carafe d'eau, of water. Une carafe d'eau, s'il vous plaît, please. And if you say that, you're gonna get like, either an empty wine bottle full of water or just a bottle of tap water and some glasses, and you will not have to pay for it. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said that one of the things that was most stressful to her when she first moved to France was how to order in a boulangerie. So when you wanna go into the bakery and order a croissant, it's important to know, if you want to try to speak French, that a croissant is a masculine word. Thus, when you order it, you're going to say un croissant, s'il vous plaît, un croissant. So that's spelled UN, and I think originally for me, like when I saw that word, I wanted to say like un or une, something like that, but it's un. And if you think about kind of like making a fake little smile, you will have the UN pronunciation correct, and you can say un croissant, s'il vous plaît, and you will be like, top. The only problem is they'll probably speak back to you in French and then you won't know what to do. But that's the problem we want to have. And then, don't ask me why, because I don't know, but baguette, the word baguette, which is for the long French, baguette is a feminine word. So if you want a baguette in the boulangerie, you're going to say une, U-N-E, une baguette, s'il vous plaît. Une baguette, s'il vous plaît. Yeah, so I just wanted to give you those tips because I think it's really important to know how to act in the boulangerie and to feel really good and confident when you go in and you want to order something. Okay, another tip I have if you are a coffee lover is when you're traveling in France, if you're in a big city, Paris or Marseille or probably Lyon, Bordeaux, you are going to find like a Starbucks or a big coffee chain where you can order that, great big latte to go. And certainly coffee culture is huge in Paris and throughout France. And in the bigger cities, you're also going to find some very bespoke, cool coffee spots where you can either sit and have a coffee or you can take your coffee out. Although walking around with a to-go cup of coffee in France, to me, I don't see it a lot at all. While Starbucks is very popular, especially with tourists, you just don't see people out and about walking around with coffee on the streets of France unless they are tourists from another land. If you do find yourself in a situation where you're going to sit down and you're going to order a coffee or a tea and you would like help with doing that, drop me a note in the comments. Tell me your favorite coffee that you always order, and I'll try to help you know how to order it in French when you go to France, okay? I'll do my best. All right, well, that's it for today. And if you found this video helpful, I hope you'll give it a little thumbs up. Even subscribe to my channel so that you'll know when videos come out. Vous pouvez me trouver en ligne sur d'autres plateformes. Venez! You can find me online on other platforms. I have a free newsletter on Substack. That's a great little community of really fun people. Come on over and sign up. It's free if I didn't mention it. And you can also find me on Instagram at Karen Bussin, where I share lovely and delightful pictures and stories from life in France and beyond. Okay, bonne journée les amis. À bientôt.